Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I was trying to, my hair's not cooperating today. I mean, not that it's really fixed, but I was trying to make it at least look kind of cute. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. And we're just we'll muddle through. We'll muddle through. How are you guys today? How are y'all? If you're watching, say hey. Let me know you're here. If you're watching a replay, just put replay in the comments. Let me know how you're doing. I hope you guys are doing well and hanging in there during Corona-cation. I mean, as far as I know, sorry, I moved my camera. We're all still on lockdown, on Corona lockdown, on whatever you want to call it. Good morning, Billy. Thank you for joining, as always. Anybody else that's watching, just give me a shout out. Say hey. I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I think we can really easily lose sight of. First, before I move on with devotion, Friday, Liam, my 5-year-old, is doing devotion. He's taking over devotion. He's going to do it. We're going to see what my 5-year-old has to say about all this coronavirus situation. Hey, Darlene, thanks for joining. Y'all make sure to tune in on Friday so that you can see Liam, see what he has to say about coronavirus and whatnot. And if you're watching, I'd love for you to, share the video. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Sherry. Thank you all for joining. Let me know what you guys think. Now, also, too, if there's any... Okay, sorry. I'm trying to share this, and it's being weird. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay. If there's any particular topic that you guys would like for me to discuss, cover, study, whatever the case may be, I mean, we're looking at another month of Coronication. So, just let me know. So let's talk a little bit about contentment. I think it is so easy in our culture, society, world, however you want to look at it, to not be content, because we fall into this trap of comparison. We fall into this trap of constantly wanting more, constantly, we're on social media a lot, and we look at what other people have, and how well they seem to be doing and whatnot. And we want that, I think contentment, a lack of contentment, is akin to envy, right? Because if you don't envy what other people have, then you would be content with what you do have, right? Hey, Lisa, another Lisa. I got 2 Lisas on this morning. So I want to start by reading a scripture. It is, and it's going to be, to many of you, it may be very familiar. It's Philippians 4:11, and it says, I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. And I think it's really important that we talk about that, because Paul, pretty sure it's Paul that was writing this here, Paul is saying that no matter what life threw at me, I learned how to be content. And if you read on to the next verse, he says, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. And he says the secret in the next verse, and I'll get to that. But I want to talk about that word content in Philippians 4:11. Sherry, you want me to talk about fear? I will put that on the list. That's a good one. We'll talk about that in another devotion. Thank you. So when we're looking at this verse, I want to first of all make note that the word content here is a little bit different than the word content or contentment in some other areas of the Bible. This word content means that independent of external circumstances, you have found contentment. Okay? So no matter what's going on, and Paul even says it here, whether I'm hungry, whether I'm full, whether I have everything I want or not, no matter what the external circumstances of my life are, I've learned how to be content. I've learned that my contentment doesn't come from external circumstances, right? And he says, I've learned the secret. In verse 12, I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation. And what is that secret? Philippians 4:13, y'all, everybody quote it. Raise your hand if you know it. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. We've learned to be content. Paul had learned to be content because he knows that it's not within himself to do it to begin with. Right? And it's so important that in this time, especially in this time, now it's easy to be content when everything's going your way. Okay? When the bank account is full, when you have the best job in the world, when everything's just going right. Your kids are doing good, they're getting along, and as my kid says, ow, because his brother hurt him. The house is clean, the laundry's done, it's easy to be content when everything's going right or everything's going the way you want it to be. But if we can realize that true contentment comes from the strength of God, then it won't matter what external circumstances come into our life. It won't matter that we're stuck at home for the foreseeable future. It won't matter that our bank account is overdrawn. It won't matter that our loved ones are sick or that we are sick. We will learn to be content because we know the secret of true contentment comes from God. It comes from the strength that we find in Jesus Christ. And I want to read 2 Corinthians. I'm going to go to it. 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 9. Did I write that down correctly? Yes, okay. Yes, okay. Sorry. I was reading it. I was like, wait, that's not what I wanted. But yes. So, and a lot of you have heard this before, 2 Corinthians 12 and 9, but he said to me, and this is Jesus speaking, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. And I looked up these words here, and that word sufficient is another word, the Greek word, original word for contentment. So God's grace gives us contentment, okay? So what is God's grace? It's favor with God. It's favor with the King of Kings. I don't know about y'all, but I don't care what's going on in my life. If I can have favor with God, I can certainly find contentment in that, regardless of what is happening in my life. Take a look at Esther. If you've never read the book of Esther and the story of Esther, I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite stories in the Bible. Esther was a Jew in a time where it was not popular to be a Jew. The king had banished his wife and rounded up all the maidens in search of a new wife. And Esther hid her Jewish heritage from the king. Like, she was like, I'm just gonna pretend like I'm just a regular girl. I'm not gonna do anything untoward against my heritage, but I'm going to just not say anything about me being a Jew. And Esther found favor with the king. And because of that favor, she was able to have boldness in bringing a petition before him that would very likely cause her death. I mean, that's an incredible story. If you read in Esther, when she's telling her uncle Mordecai, this is what we're going to do. Go tell the people to fast and pray. I'm going to fast and pray. And then I'm going to go before the king. And you know what? If I die, I die. I mean, that's some contentment right there. But I venture to say the reason she was contented in what she was doing was because she knew that she had favor with the king. And if we can realize that we have favor with the king, that's what the grace of God is all about. It's about Jesus dying on the cross. No, not on the table right now, buddy. So that we can have favor with the king. So that we can take our petitions before him and know that he is going to do what's best for us. Listen, Esther could have died. The king had the power and the authority to say, I didn't call you in here. You just broke the law. I'm going to banish you just like I did the queen before you. But because she had found favor with the king, she could have boldness to go before him. And she was content with that. She was content with her lot, you could say. She was content knowing that in going before the king, she just might die. I want you to think about that. Would you do that? Do you have the kind of contentment that says, you know what? Whatever happens, whatever comes against me in my life, I know without a doubt that I have found favor with the king. And everything's going to be okay. Yes, Liam.
Can I get some grapes, please?
Not right now. When I'm done, I'll get you some, okay?
Are you almost done?
I'll be done in a few minutes. And so that's what we find here in 2 Corinthians 12. It says, my grace, God's favor, is sufficient. That sufficiency is contentment. When we have the favor of God, when we realize that we have favor with our King, then we can be content no matter what the external circumstances are that come against us, right? And Hebrews, love Hebrews too. I mean, I love the whole Bible, but there's a few scriptures that just kind of stand out. Hebrews 13 and verse 5 says, keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have. Because God has said, so why should we be content? Because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. That's what it is to have favor with God. He's never going to leave. He's never going to turn his back on his children. You guys, he loves us. God loves us. He is a good father. He only wants what's best for us. And if we can learn to be content, even when life is not working out the way we thought it would or should, or the way we want it to, if we can be content in knowing that we have God's grace, that we have favor with our King, that he will never leave us, he will never forsake us. Be content with what you have, because he will never leave you or forsake you. That's Hebrews 13 and 5. God is not going anywhere. It doesn't matter if coronavirus starts wiping out whole countries. God's not going anywhere. It doesn't matter if the economy just completely falls apart. God's not going anywhere. And we can find contentment in that because we know that we have favor with the King. Because we are saved. We have received grace. That's the whole point of Jesus dying on the cross, was so that we could have grace. So in this time of difficulty, in this time of really, I feel like every day there's just like stuff coming against us. It's something new. Something new every day that we are facing, that we are struggling with. And it's different for everybody, guys. I understand that. I don't want you to think that I in any way belittle your problems. Because I understand that they are very real. That they are... And it's different. I understand that what you're facing is different than what I'm facing. Okay? So I want you to understand that I get it. I empathize with you 100%. But I also believe that no matter what the external circumstances of our life are, we can find contentment because we have favor with the King. Man, what an incredible promise. What an incredible promise that God has given us. That we have favor. We have so much favor with the King that we can find contentment no matter what the circumstances of our life. And again, I recommend that you read the book of Esther because she saved a nation because she found favor with her king. And she used that to find contentment in the course of life, in what she had to do, because she very well could have died. She could have been put to death. But because she found contentment in the favor she had with her king, she was able to do what needed to be done. And that's where we are today, guys. There are decisions that some of you guys are making that are not easy decisions. I get it. I get it. There are things that you're facing that I can't even imagine. There are so many things happening in the world today, in your lives, that if we can just remember that God's grace is sufficient. The favor that we have with the King is sufficient. It will give us contentment no matter what the external circumstances are that come against our life. And I know this was a little shorter than my usual devotions, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you got something out of this today. I saw some comments, and sorry I didn't, if I try to say hey to everybody and reply to the comments, but then I get sidetracked. So Susan, thank you so much. Jenny, yes, every day there's something different. God is teaching me to trust and seek his face. And that's Jenny, and that's how we find contentment. We trust God, and we find that by seeking his face. You can't just be floating around. You know, you got to say, all right, Lord, today, give me what I need today. Help me learn what I need today. Show me your favor today. You know, that's how we have to approach every day right now, because we just don't know what's going to come against us, right? We just don't know. And thank you, Jenny. That was really good. You know, God is teaching all of us, I think. I think we are all, if we will listen and seek the face of God, we will all learn so much about him, about his grace, about his favor, and about ourselves, and about our relationship with God, right? This is an incredible opportunity for us to grow our relationship with the Lord. I'm going to read some of the comments. Billy, thank you. Joshua, thanks for joining. Marty, Alicia, I think it's Alicia or Alicia. I have a friend who spells it like that, and she says Alicia. So, yeah, guys, thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope y'all enjoyed this devotion. I would love for you to share it. Let your friends know that every day, 11 o'clock, they can stop on over here. And I'm doing a live devotion as long as we're stuck at home on Corona-cation. quarantine, isolation, whatever you want to call it. As long as we're stuck at home, I'm going to be here doing devotion every day at 11 o'clock. Don't forget, this Friday, Liam, my 5-year-old, is taking over devotion. He's going to talk to you people about Jesus. He's going to talk to you guys about how we should behave during the coronavirus situation.
And be kind.
What? And be kind. He's going to talk to you about being kind. That's right, Betty. He's telling me. He's giving me his notes over there. So, hey Liam, you want to come over here and give him a little preview? Tell him what you're going to talk about? No, okay. He's not. He said no. He's going to keep it a surprise. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see all of you again tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I love you all. Bye-bye.